What's
All
up, man?
right, what is up, everybody? I am Emrah. This is Isaac, and this is the first episode of the Believe It Live podcast.
Yes, sir.
So, a lot of
Glad to be
people are
here.
probably wondering what is this podcast? Isaac, do you want to give a quick rundown of what this podcast entails?
Absolutely. So basically, we had the idea of, well, we want to do a podcast, but what do we do it about? And we didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves to one topic necessarily, because I feel like if you do that, then you get stuck. So what we're trying to make this podcast about is a little bit of everything. We want to bring people from different categories, different life experiences, and everything in between. We try and bring everyone together and talk about different subjects, talk about different topics, things that we deal with on a daily basis, and just expand our horizons.
Yeah, honestly, you said it very well. Like you said, we don't want to like tie ourselves down. Like we're both in the business niche, but we know not everybody really cares for business, and like honestly, some of the business stuff is even boring to me. We want to be able to expand different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different ways of thinking, and I feel like giving people a platform where they can like successfully do so would be super cool and interesting. Um, like always, podcast is from 8 to 10 p.m. every single Friday. If you want to be a guest, just reach out to me and Isaac, and we'll get you on. Podcasts, again, they're 2 hours long, but that's the maximum. They'll never be over 2 hours, but like if we have a podcast, there are some chances that it could be less than 2 hours, just depending on the topic and who's coming on and all that. Is there anything else you'd want to add, Isaac?
No, that's hit the nail right in the head there.
All right,
So
bet.
I guess this first podcast, we're just going to be talking about a little bit about ourselves, and then kind of just go from there. Like the way we kind of got started, I guess, at least for myself, was funny enough. I think for a lot of people, when it comes to getting into like business and things of that nature, I think like in this day and age, a lot of it comes to like social media and like seeing different people. And one of the people that got me into like the mindset of I don't know what the hell you want to call it, but Gary Vaynerchuk was like the first guy that I ever saw that was like, oh shit, like what he said in a lot of different ways like spoke to me. And especially during high school, because high school was that time where it's such a pivotal moment. People trying to figure each other out, trying to figure out what they want to do with their life and things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, what do I really want to do? And what he spoke about, and a lot of other people, Tom Bilyeu, I don't know if that's how you say his name, but he's one guy that I always look up to because he talks straight facts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's so much out there to do that I feel like it's hard to touch on every single
Mm-hmm.
topic. So you just got to start somewhere and just kind of start doing stuff. Like for me, I started a clothing line in high school just for the hell of it. Cause I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fuck it. We gotta, we gotta try something, whether it wins, whether it loses, you can't just be scared not to try anything. So I started with a clothing line.
Yeah, I started kind of similar. I did something called drop shipping. Basically, you source products from China, slap your own logos and label onto them, and then resell them online for like a 30% upcharge. And that's
Yep.
basically what got me into marketing. That's what got me into business. And with that, I learned, marketing from that. And then I was like, okay, this business model isn't very good, but the marketing I feel like is very valuable. So I took that, and that's how I created the Caddick marketing that I do today, like full time. I think experiences. I think you touched on it a bit. I feel like experiences throughout your life can be very meaningful if you know how to like if you indulge them right and you know how to use them correctly, because I could have easily like just dropped like everything. I could have taken that drop shipping, seen it failed, and just dropped. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
throughout life, you go through many jobs, you go through many experiences, many friends, many ups, many downs. But none of that is like in reality, none of that is really like bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I was just telling you earlier, man, failure is a place that I think everyone can agree that everyone's been to, and
Mhm.
only resilient people will escape from.
Mhm.
And the way, like you said it, is that I think a lot of people get in the headspace of once you fail at something, oh, I'm not good at it. I should just stop. I think too
Yeah.
many people are like that. And I don't know where it stems from. I don't know if it stems from, it can be anything from like how you grew up, your
Mhm.
friends, your peers, even school has a lot to do with it because you spend, I mean, your first 15 years of education, that's where you're at school every
Yeah,
day, and then whatever they
yeah.
teach you is just there.
What
And
sucks about education is education isn't a bad thing, and me and you talked about this a few days ago.
I was just
Edu-
gonna say that. I was gonna
yeah,
say I'm not dogging on education. Education, that's the opposite of what I'm about.
yeah. What Ezra just said in the chat, you learn from failures, and not success. Failures are good. Like for example, like marketing, dropshipping. I realized that dropshipping isn't a good business model. I lost a ton of money off of that. But what that taught me is marketing and the stock market. You probably have experience with this too. I did the stock market, did options contracts, lost a ton of money, but I didn't take that as like a damn I suck at stocks. It took that as a okay, I need to learn why I messed up and how I can learn from that. And I feel like
Oh,
that's the
absolutely.
problem with people nowadays. They hit a road bump and they let that road bump total their car. You know what I mean? Road bumps aren't meant to total your car. Road bumps are just you got to slow down, get over it, and keep going. And I feel like just the mindset people need to like flip that switch in their mindset. They're like failures are stepping stones.
What's the quote? Fuck. 10%. Life is 10% what happens, 90% how you react to it.
100%,
And I think that
100%.
has a lot more truth to it than what people really consider.
Mhm.
Because if you can change the way you look at a certain experience, then you can change how you experience life later on. You know what I mean? I was gonna say you're reading right now Solve for Happiness.
This book is a very good book. What Isaac just touched on. This book literally gives you a step-by-step guide on how to go through life with the positive mindset. Like if you go through a bad time, this book teaches you that it's all about your mind, how you think about it. If you have a okay, this is a very like drastic example, but if a family member dies, you don't want to remember them for the sad times, you feel me? You want to take their legacy and keep moving forward. You know what I mean? That's what he did. His son died at a very young age due to malpractice. He didn't use that as something to like be sad about for the rest of his life. He turned his son's death into a legacy. He started a non-for-profit where he just helped as many people like out as possible, helped as many people as he could solve for happy, like try to become happy with his work. And I think that's so interesting.
It really is. And like not everyone, and there's some people that are programmed that way,
Mhm.
and then there's others that are the complete opposite. And what's really crazy is how, I guess you could say, how powerful the human brain is, and how much you can accomplish once you figure out how to, I guess, train your mind a certain
Mhm.
way. um I guess to think different and to move differently,
Mhm.
in the sense of not letting all the negatives get to you, and not letting other people's opinions get to you. I think
Mhm.
people will allow opinions fester in their mind, and I think they'll allow them to control them. You know, someone, you come in one day, everyone's had that experience where you're in school, you're younger, and you wear something that not all the other kids approve of, or like you have a messed
Yeah.
up haircut or something stupid like that. And
Yeah.
then as a kid, you're like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. It's the embarrassment part for people that I
Yeah, it's
think,
not that they don't like it, it's like they're afraid that other people won't like it.
exactly. I think that's what holds a lot of people back too when they're
Mhm.
trying to do stuff
100%.
that's different. They're like, oh, well, it's different. It hasn't worked out in the past for us. It'd be, you know, $1 million idea or something random like that.
Yeah.
But that's the complete opposite. We need more different in society. We need more people that are willing to step out of comfort zones and do things that are uncomfortable to do.
I feel like once like any individual like learn like realizes that like nobody's opinion matters other than their own, that's when you truly start flourishing as a person. Because
Hmm.
like if you keep letting people talk you down, like you're never going to get anywhere in life because you're always going to be afraid of somebody else's opinion. And I don't know why, like as humans, we like not that we value, but when, like if we had two people standing right in front of us, one of them tells us a compliment, and then one of them insults us. That insult is gonna stay with us longer than that compliment, and I don't understand why it's like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
And
like
that
we
just
let it
comes
linger,
that,
but why?
right. And the hardest thing to do is to be able to take the negative and then flip it to a positive.
Mhm.
Like if you can start thinking in a way where all of the all negatives start becoming positive, life becomes a lot better, I think, for most
Mhm.
people. And that goes back to the whole, life's 10% or 90% what happened, or God damn it. 10% what happens, 90% how you react to it, because it's all about your mentality. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said
100%.
before, your your outlook and the way that you actually take the experience. You could say, oh, you know, I lost my job, my life's over, this and that, or oh, I failed a class, my life's over, I dropped out, flunked out of school or something like that. Versus, okay, this didn't work. Let's move on to the next thing and figure out why it didn't work.
Ada said in the chat, even bigger content creators still take negativity to heart as much as me, you, or anyone else. And I understand that. Like people do take negativity to heart. Um, and I mean, I can understand why, but I don't understand why at the same time. Because like they're like especially bigger content creators, they're in such a high place in society where like they honestly like rule their terrain. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any big streamers off like the top of my head, but a big YouTuber that I know is PewDiePie. You know how many like hate comments he gets on the daily? And like imagine he like took all of that to heart. Like
Right.
he would be the most depressed man on the planet because he has probably millions of people hating on him.
And he
But
wouldn't
he
be where he's at now, I don't think, honestly,
exactly.
because if you let that rule over you, then you're not going to continue to push on. You're
Hmm.
just going to sit there and wallow in your own self pity.
And there's people in this world who like love nothing more than to insult people, like see people down. Like there's people probably talking shit about our backs right now for like random stuff. You know what I mean? But like we
I think
can't
it
let
stems
that.
from jealousy. I think it stems
Yeah,
from jealousy and fuck, what's the other word for
envy.
it? I think it has to come from jealousy, and then also like them wanting to, like, oh, they're doing something different. They're doing something that I could never do.
And
So it's
that's
bringing
what
them back.
that's why everybody falls back into conformity because they're afraid to step out of their comfort zones because people are gonna judge them for it.
Lobster in a bucket. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Um, it's a phrase. Basically, if there's like a bucket full of lobsters, right? Like you go out to
Mm,
sea, you fucking catch a bunch of lobsters, you put them in a bucket, and one of them tries escaping, the other ones will actually pull that one down
mm-hmm.
to make sure that it's okay. If we're going down, you're coming down with us. And I think a lot of people are programmed that way. I don't know where it stems from. It's an interesting um, subject because it's so true. Like there's so many people out there that would rather dog you and be negative. It's harder to be positive than it is to be negative. It's easy to
Mm-hmm.
tell someone, oh, you're fucking ugly, you don't do this.
Yeah.
You're not doing the content I want you to do. It's like it doesn't matter. Why does my life impact yours? Why go through negative? Why not uplift people, make them feel better? I get more.
I feel like uplifting people shows signs of weakness. And I feel like that's why people try to be so negative towards one another because it makes them look like this big tough person. You know
Right.
what I
When in
mean?
reality, I mean, it's,
When in reality it's the complete opposite. Like
yeah,
uplifting people, helping people reach their goals and just being nice like doesn't make you you know what I mean? It doesn't make you soft.
yeah, absolutely. I think too many, especially guys. I think a lot of guys, I mean, there's the bros and whatever,
Mhm.
but I still think like that macho mentality where guys will be like, oh, it's easier to talk shit and make yourself. There's always that scene in a movie where a bully talks shit, but then like the quiet kid ends up being a badass, and then you know what I mean? Like it just blows my mind that so many people are much more willing to tear someone down than they are to uplift them. And again, that comes
100%.
back to your mindset, your environment, whether it's family, whether it's how you were raised or whatever. There's
Um
just so much behind it.
Exclusive says in the chat, people will judge you when they see you doing better than them. And I think that's
Absolutely.
what ties into what you said earlier about jealousy. That when
Mhm.
people see you doing better than them, they get jealous, and I feel like that's kind of what stems that. Not really hatred, but
Animosity,
animosity,
jealousy.
yeah, jealousy. I think that's very interesting. And like
Hmm.
with that, we can tie into one of these topics that we wanted to touch on is that everybody's different. You know what I mean? You brought up school earlier and how people flunk school, like how I mean, I didn't do terrible in school. I don't know how you did in school, but I wasn't the one who stayed up and like crammed notes for like 8 hours a day to try to pass a test. I walked into class, took the test. If I passed, I passed. If I failed, I failed.
Right.
Because I knew there were bigger things for me, and I know that what I learned in world history back in ninth grade wouldn't pertain to what I'm doing in my professional career.
Right. And not a lot of people figure that out. And back to the education things, I know some people are going to flame us like, they said college isn't, you shouldn't go to college. I don't believe in nobody should go to college
Mhm.
because I think that's a subject right now, especially with how much people are doing things online.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessary to become successful.
Mhm.
I think if you know what you want to do, and that entails you getting a college degree, go for it. We
Mhm.
need doctors, engineers,
Yeah,
lawyers.
100%.
We need those types of people in society. But there's also a portion where I feel like a lot of those people that do go to college, once they're out,
They don't really
that's it.
benefit from
They're
it.
like
Yeah.
they're like I'm done. I'm no longer. I got done with my schooling, my education. That is it for me. Rather than okay, I'm done with college. But instead of saying okay, how much longer do I have? Why not say how much further can I go?
Yeah.
How
I
much more
think
can I learn? Because knowledge can be powerful, but only if it's applied.
100%.
So I think it's a big misconception that a lot of people have because school does breed workers.
Mhm.
But if your mental capacity is wide enough where you can see that there's more to life than just working,
Mhm.
then you start questioning things. And you always have to question things. And you always have to continue to learn, whether it can be anything. If you're continuously learning about something, like I'm in the middle of renovating a house right now. Like I bought a house last summer,
Yup.
end of summer. And I know a decent amount. I'm pretty good with my hands. I work on cars. I
Yeah.
have always been around. I mean, like my family's from third world country, so everything we've done, everything my grandpa's done, from he was born in the fucking dirt, and everything he's done up until now, was by himself.
Mhm.
So like for me, like working with my hands is I'm like okay, I'm
Kind of
pretty
like
good off
second
it.
nature.
But yeah, but I'm still learning because I'm renovating this house. I have to learn so many different types of things, and I get asked. I've had people ask me before, how do you know how to do this stuff? I'm like, well, I learned some of it from my youth, but also I wanted to do something, so I learned how to do it. I did it. If it failed, figure out how to do it better. If it
Mhm.
worked, then great.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's not really about what you learn in school, but like I guess you could call it street smarts. Like I'm in I'm in college right now for marketing. And obviously I have my marketing business, but when I tell you marketing in college and what I do, there's no correlation at all. You know what I mean? Like the marketing in college, what they teach you is what worked back in like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, which was like
Text
buying a
textbook
billboard.
marketing.
Yeah, text buying a billboard, throwing up name, phone number, email, and all that. But that doesn't work nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna track how many people called directly by looking at that sign? But like, the thing with college nowadays is they don't teach you like the Facebook stuff, the Google stuff, Instagram. That
Literally. And that's
it's
free.
outdated and it's free. Yeah, you can go online. All like Facebook, everything I learned off of Facebook was 100% free. I didn't have to pay a dollar. And if I did like when I did want to learn more and take a deeper dive into Facebook, I went on Udemy, bought a like 20-hour course for like $15. You know what I mean? What is
Yeah.
$15 for education when we're out here spending $7,000 every like what semester?
Hmm.
I don't know. I think
And
it
it's
just
like,
depends on how you look at it.
and we live in a time where there's like when I say you should continuously be learning and there's no excuse not to, it's because we
Mhm.
live in the age of fucking technological insanity. You can get on your phone that is in your pocket and you can
Mhm.
either spend 6.5 hours on TikTok or six
Or
and a half hours fucking learning something. You can
yeah,
watch YouTube videos, you can read, you can listen to podcasts like fucking this one. Hopefully you learn something, whether
yeah,
it's we like to talk a lot or maybe you actually pick something up from it. I don't know. But
yeah.
like that's just an example. Like you can learn so much just from the this was not a thing back in our parents and grandparents' age.
Let me
You can
just
go on here now, you can take pictures, you can listen, you can
let me show
research.
the
There's
stream
so
something
much
real quick.
fucking knowledge out there. And like it blows my mind that people don't want to learn more. And people don't want to put that's what that whole bookshelf is.
This is investing into your education. Don't get me wrong, investing in a college, again, if you want to be a lawyer, doctor, anything along those lines, you need education. You got to pass the MCAT, the bar exam.
Facts.
But
24K a semester just to read the textbook myself and wait days for explanations.
Monopoly, thank you for the raid. Really appreciate that. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, investing in a college when you know what you want to do, like doctor, I want to be a doctor, nurse, this, that. You need to go to college. But again, business major, I think it would be, I think it's a like dumb investment to go to college for business. And some people's arguments are, oh, you build a network, this, that. When I tell you I've tried, like I've literally tried. I've emailed professors like asking for help, trying to like find whether it be internships, connect me to people that can help me like take the next step forward. I literally emailed the marketing director of my college saying I wanted to learn from him. He never emailed me back.
Bro, it's because
Like
all they really want is your fucking money.
that's what I'm saying, bro.
Like,
Like
yes, you learn very important things for doing, but like some degrees are just fucking pointless. Like they just want your
mhm.
money.
Mhm.
So there, like I mean, where I was going with the whole education thing is that I think self-educate, because there's traditional education and then self-education. I think
Mhm.
self-education beats traditional education nine times out
100%.
of ten
Traditional
because
education keeps you working, you know what I mean? It keeps you
yeah,
down it keeps you down that pipeline of school, school, and then you get a job, work for the rest of your life, and then when you retire, get that 401k money and boom.
die.
Yeah, literally, that's it.
hmm
That's what
And
traditional education teaches you. But go ahead with what you were gonna say.
it really is. And the only I get ADD. I lose my train of thought too easy.
No, you're all good. My bad.
But fucking no, self-education I think is so much more important because when you're self-educating yourself, you're educating yourself about stuff that you actually like. You wouldn't want
Mhm.
to learn about something if you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, even that takes above average effort for some people because we like being comfortable.
Yeah. We
We
do.
have so much stuff like we don't like back in the day, like settlers and stuff like that. They didn't have the opportunity to be
For
comfortable. They
comfort.
were in the
Yeah.
fucking mud. We live very cushy lifestyles. You can literally just sit here all day and watch TV, play video games, and that's your life. But here's the thing, like with that example, instead of just playing video games and just that being that, you could get on something like this, like Twitch,
Yeah.
and stream that, and people will watch it, and then you can build a following, you can build a brand. Like there's so much opportunity that a lot of people are missing out of because they don't think further outside of what's happening in the now. They can't take off the blinders and just really see the
Mhm.
broad spectrum of like, okay, this is my interest, this is my hobby, this is my day job, and they can't see past like it's just that because of society and because of parents, because of friends, they pigeonhole themselves and they say, okay, it's only that, rather than saying, oh, like look at what's his name, Ninja.
Yeah.
Look at that dude. That dude's
He
doing
played.
very well for
Yeah, he's
himself.
doing very well. And what did he do? He just played games, knew how to market himself, and look at him now making like $10 million.
Yeah, bro. Like, and the funny thing is, um, people will always take the easy route if it means they'll be comfortable still. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you had a split road and one road was like, you have to do very minimal effort to survive, but you'll have all the basic amenities that life can give you.
Yep.
A lot of people would rather do that rather than, okay, you're going to experience a couple of years or more of really painful shit, but then you're going to be way farther ahead than anyone else. Um,
What Adela
yeah,
said
no,
is very
contend.
true. Did you
Hold
see what
on.
Adela said?
Hold on. Yes, yes, yes. I have to read this or else I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Where'd it
Yeah,
go?
go crazy.
Keep talking because I totally forget. Exclusive said facts. People become content with life when there's always room for improvement.
100%.
It
That's a
is
very good comment.
once you stop learning, complacency sits in.
Yup.
That's what it is. That
Yup.
was what was in my mind.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, because that's what it is. Once you stop learning about it, once you stop wanting to push yourself to learn, and I keep
You
saying
just go
learn
back on you
because
get back
that's
into the rat race if you stop learning.
my biggest fear in life is to live that work 40 years, retire, go to fucking Florida for, the cold season and then die.
There's a book called Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and he refers to those people as traffic fighters. And I thought it was a very good what's it? You got it right there, huh?
It's this book.
Hell
You
yeah.
guys
Very
want
good book. If you guys want to read a very good book, it's not even business oriented at all. It's a book that teaches you to flip that switch in your mind to literally not give a shit about anything unless it directly like affects you. You know what I mean?
There's another good one if you guys want just something to pick you up.
What are some good books that I recommend? This is a very good book I can recommend. I'm almost done reading it. But
There's so
back
many.
back to what Adela said. Sometimes it comes from parents being raised on the traditional way and then trying to put it on their kids that college is the only way out. That is a
No,
1,000,000% true. That's the current situation that I'm in right now. My dad, he has his own trucking company, he's well off, but and he didn't go through any education. He dropped out of school in 8th grade to go like what's it called, like just around the farm, help around the farm, make money because my dad lived through the war in
A
Bosnia.
farmhand.
Yeah, and he didn't go to any education. Everything he learned was from work. He went, got a job, learned that job, and then did the job better than the job, so he opened the business. And that's insane. What's that called? An entrepreneur, where you work somewhere, you study their systems, and you go make another business with the exact same systems.
Oh yeah, entrepreneurship. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's what he did. But it's so weird because you'd think that since my dad understands the hustle, my dad understands like educate. Like he didn't have any education. He understands that.
But he still put that on you
But he
because
still
that's what
puts
he
it on me.
knew.
You know what I mean? But who just sorry, I just got distracted by
No,
the
you're good. But
notification.
dude, that is so true because that's the same thing for like my grandparents, for example. Like my grandpa, I mean, he's from South America. Dude grew up in a village the size of a Walmart. Like it's small, like no running water, no electricity, like it is in the middle of buttfuck. I know that because I've been there twice. And he came from that. And all he knew growing up because of the time period he lived in was okay, you get an education so you can have an opportunity. Because there wasn't as much opportunity back then like there is now.
100%.
And then that got pressed onto the next generation, my parents, aunts, uncles. Same thing for them because that's all they grew up knowing because that's all grandpa said. Now we're in a completely different generation now. We're in a technological fucking metropolis in
Yeah.
the world. And people
And
don't
if
see it as
anything,
that.
it's
People
easier. It's easier nowadays.
it is. But here's the thing. People don't see it as that. People see it because they minimize what technology can really do for you. They minimize it because it's such a daily thing that we're so used to it that all we see is the okay, like it's there, like so what, like we use it every day, it is,
Mm-hmm.
versus holy crap, like holy shit, like I have this amazing thing in front of me that can tell me anything I want to know at any time at all I have to do is just
You can reach millions of people with literally a single click.
yeah.
Like, I spent $100 on ads. I reached 20,000 people. Like that's insane to me. 20,000 people saw my video. I had to spend $100, and
Yep.
that's so crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Back
Like,
in the day they had to throw up like a fucking couple of billboards, do some
yeah.
newspaper ads,
And
radio
they never
ads.
knew. It could have been seen by 10 people or 10 million. They would never know. It's crazy that we have those analytics and statistics. But Adela made a comment. She said, I told my parents I wanted to open my own practice after I finished college, and they were negative about it and said I can't do it because it's too hard and I should be okay with being bare minimum on what I majored in.
What the
Um,
hell?
First question from me to you, Adela. Um, who's living your life? You know what I mean? Who's living life for you? I mean, and
Facts.
I'm not telling you like listen to me and follow. Okay, I don't know how to word this. Don't listen to me. You know what I mean? Follow your own intuition, follow your own path. But you're not living your life for your parents. You're living your life for yourself. You know what I mean? Like in the future, who's gonna be paying your bills? You know what I mean? Your parents might help you with some bills here and there, but once you start getting 20s, 30s, 40s, like you're gonna have to rely on yourself.
Hey, that's a really good topic of discussion is parent figures, family, because for most of us, our family is very important to us, I would think.
100. Yeah,
And
100%.
you don't want to disappoint them or go against them because you want to make them happy. And I think the hardest thing for a lot of people is to cut that connection. Not like
Cut it
separate
off.
from your family, but
Yeah.
like have that mutual respect to say, listen, I understand why you're doing what you're doing. You want what's best for me, or at least I hope you do.
Mhm.
And you only know a certain way. I respect that, but I'm going to do what I think is best for myself because I know me better than you know me.
Mhm.
So, but
And the thing with that is like we're all young. I'm assuming everybody in this
Adela,
chat is.
yeah,
What'd she
100%.
say?
She said, I don't listen to them. And I was like, yeah,
Good.
sometimes they'll spit good advice. I'm not saying don't disrespect your parents and not listen to them at all. I'm just saying when it comes to what you believe is truly best for you, fucking go for it.
Mhm.
Try, you have to try. What was that? You were telling me, Emrah, you have to try. Oh my God. You have to try and fail 1,000 times.
Or
What was that?
one success is worth more than 1,000 failures.
Yeah.
Failure. Okay, so for example, let's say what private practice did you wanna make your own practice for? While she's answering that question, think of the most successful person on the planet. The only reason they're in that place is because they failed multiple times. Failure, failure, failure. But they didn't let those failures stop them, you know what I mean?
And I think that's why so many people aren't willing to put in the work is because they're scared of
Afraid of
failure
failing, yeah.
rather than, and this all comes back to mindset. You have to look, like I said before, negative and failures as a positive. You
Mhm.
have to look at it as a learning experience. Once you start to look at every failure as a learning experience rather than a detriment to your own self, you'll realize how little shit in life doesn't really matter,
Mhm.
because
Oh, for
people
sure.
will maximize one tiny failure because either attention, because in their own head it's way bigger than it really is, because to them it feels that way.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not the best when it comes to that because I don't understand it fully. I try to talk to other people who feel that way so I can get a sense of empathy for them, and so I can try and guide them the other direction, instead
Mhm.
of falling back because of your failure, push forward and make that your fucking armor.
And that ties back into just people talking shit, because I feel like failure and people talking shit are so synonymous. When you fail, that's when those shit talkers come in and just start pounding you. It's
And you
all
have
about,
to,
and you have to take
haters
it.
haters are the biggest fans.
They are the biggest fans. I use people that talk down on me as fuel, you know what I mean? Because I know what's happening behind the scenes. Like, and you know what's happening behind the scenes at the house you're working on in my business. But
Idris, I don't know how to say his name, but yes, that's a good one. He said Elon Musk, try to achieve what you want to be in 10 years and 6 months. Even if you fail, you're going to be a hell of a lot closer than you were 6 months ago.
that's good. I
You got
really
to
like
have
that.
goals so big that small-minded people, that you feel uncomfortable telling it to small-minded people.
Who said that? Somebody said that.
I
Was
don't
it
know,
Morgan?
but that stuck with me.
I feel like he said something like that when we went and talked to him.
Oh, who, Morgan?
Yeah.
I
What did
don't
she
know,
say?
bro.
She said
There's so much
dermatology.
crazy shit that just rattles off in the back of my brain all day.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many thoughts, so many conversations I have with myself. Just like,
Throughout the day, I feel you.
it's so weird. Um,
Once you realize that like your only best friend is truly yourself, like I feel like that's when you can truly like flourish as a
you're
human
reading
being.
my fucking
No,
mind.
like people think there's like two types of people. There's the people who sit alone in a room and they overthink, they let their mind take over, and then there's people that are alone all the time and they enjoy their own presence, you know what I mean? I used to be one of those people that like I'd sit in a room by myself. Nobody would text me, nobody would hit my line, and I'd start overthinking. I'd be like, "Damn, like nobody likes me, this that, this that." But now, when I'm in my room all alone, not doing like anything, I just like my mind just like starts thinking of big things, you know what I mean? Especially with business, with anything. I just like, why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? And then I just go do it.
Exactly. Like, holy fuck. Okay, that just made me think of a thousand different things at once. But the first thing I want to say is kind of stupid, but it made me think of it. Like, people will look at money, for example, and they'll be like, okay, I want this thing. Oh, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
And then that's it. It's done.
Mhm.
Rather than saying, I want this thing. How can I afford it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
That's a
such,
two completely different mindsets.
instead of telling yourself something, ask yourself something,
Mhm.
because then now it becomes an open-ended question. Now the answers could be technically limitless. So you
Yeah.
could say, well, how can I afford this? How can I have this much money? How can I have someone else pay for this? How can I
Mhm.
pay for it? You know what I mean? Like there's so many different thoughts. But to go back to what you're saying about aloneness, I think there's so much wealth in being able to be alone in a healthy
Mhm.
manner.
Yeah.
In the sense, like, I know there's people out there who suffer from depression and anxiety to an extent
100%.
where,
Yeah.
being alone is detrimental to your health. I get that. But there's also a portion of it where you have to be comfortable in your own head and your own thoughts. I think people are scared of their own thoughts or scared of what's going on in their own head. So they
Mhm.
try to run away from it by being around other people and either tearing other people down, getting attention from other people by doing stupid stuff.
Or just being under the influence of something to
Yeah,
suppress those emotions.
there's so many people, especially our peer group, like just in this age group, even older than, like, I work with guys who all they do is they go home and they drink and they just fucking sit in their own self pity. And instead of taking that alone time to really take a look at yourself and really have conversations with yourself, like, who am I? What do I like doing? Who are the people around me that best know? Like there's so much power in being able to be alone with yourself
Mhm.
and have self-awareness about where you really want to go in life. And I think you start to figure out the self-awareness part by being alone rather than other people. Because you'll start when you really start thinking about it, you'll figure out who your real friends are.
Oh yeah.
You'll figure out about what your real passions are. And everything else starts to kind of just block, it starts to block out the noise.
Mhm.
And then everything becomes clearer. I feel like you become happier in a sense too, because then you're not scared of yourself.
And I feel like a lot of that stuff that we just touched on is in that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, because he
Oh
truly teaches you
yeah.
like he like honestly the book teaches you to just like everything nothing in your life like it's not
That's
nothing in
so
your life
funny.
matters. It's like there's only a few things in your life that are really worth your time, emotions, like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that book really teaches you to like prioritize things. It's not a book about literally like not giving a fuck about anything, like dropping everything and just being your own
And
person.
don't be an asshole.
Yeah, don't be an asshole, but like what happened in the elections, you can't control it, so there's no reason you should dwell over it. You feel what I mean? Like you know what I mean?
And a lot of people hate each other.
Because of political political views, politics. Like if somebody voted for Trump, some or vice versa. You know what I mean? If somebody voted Biden, they wouldn't talk to a Trump supporter, and vice
Yeah.
versa. That
Like we're
shouldn't
all fucking
that
people.
shouldn't affect the relationship with somebody. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think too people get like we were saying, too many things that we deal with on a daily basis, we make it such a maximum effort to like,
Make it known.
yeah, like either to be like our thing because it makes us feel inclusive. Because really, people just want to feel included in
Yeah.
something, and
That's
it's
I
so
feel like
weird.
that's like a big reason why people get like so discouraged when they're alone is the fear of missing out, the fear of everybody having fun but you're in your room all alone. I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons. I mean, that was a really big
Uh-oh.
reason for me back in the day. Yeah, FOMO, fear of missing out. Everybody's out having fun. I see people are like people used to make plans right in front of me and I'd be like, "Damn, like why am I not invited to these functions? Why is nobody asking me to hang out? Why is my phone not getting any notifications all day?" Like once you can like realize like once you can get past that and enjoy some time with yourself, like I said earlier, that's just when you flourish. Like that's when you start
Like
loving yourself.
what you're saying, like because you start to realize like this shit really doesn't matter to me because I'm not, because you could, maybe you are interested in those things,
Mhm.
but I'm just giving an example. You could say, oh, I didn't get invited to this, and this, but like I said, look at the positive. Instead of saying, oh, I didn't get invited because they don't like me, because I'm this, because of that, I need to change my personality. Instead of looking at it like that, that's the negative side. Look at the positive side. Okay, I didn't get invited, but now I have all this free time.
Mhm.
What can I do with it? Can I do something productive with it? Can I do something to benefit myself? Because you'll have haters until you're where they want to be.
Yeah.
And then they come crawling to you saying and asking for things. And
One thing you
man,
said, one thing you said was you don't get invited to these functions and then you ask yourself, how do I fit in? I feel like that question is what kills people. People try to
oh
change
yeah,
themselves to fit into these groups that don't give a shit about them.
conformity.
Conformity. Like it's crazy to me. Like you're changing your entire personality to fit in with this group of people who mean nothing to you. And kind of like what Exclusive said, just be your own person. Like if somebody doesn't like you for who you are, they're not worth your time and effort. You know what I mean? They're not worth being in your life.
I I'm gonna keep butchering your name. Idris. I'm gonna say Idris because it sounds
His
better.
name's Idris. He's my cousin.
Idris. Okay, I got it almost right.
Yeah, you're close.
Facts. Too many people want to fit in. Nobody wants to stand out. That's
Yeah.
conformity, and it's
What did
because
Ada say? You go ahead. Sorry.
very fine. And it's. I think it comes when it really comes down to it. It comes down to like education again, how we were brought up in the
Mhm.
education system. Because especially if you went to a private school and everyone had to wear the same fucking clothes,
Conformity.
like that's such a way of self-expression. Is just wearing clothes.
Yeah.
But in places like that, they're, oh, you have to wear this, you have to act a certain way. They teach you to conform early on, and if you don't, then you were
You
punished
get
for it.
punished. Yeah.
And then so we take that into adulthood, and we're like, holy fuck, like where does this come from? Why
Yeah.
don't I feel comfortable being myself? It's because you're afraid of being
They
embarrassed,
literally manipulate your brain, bro. That's a holy shit. I never thought about that. That's crazy. Like
right?
from an early age,
Isn't that weird?
they try to push you into like societal norms. That's so crazy to me. I'd never realized that. Like private schools specifically. Like you got to
That
pay
is
an upfront incentive to conform to society.
literally,
What?
literally
What?
no, and like it's crazy because like you see it because what do you see in the preppy private schools? Everyone's very well mannered. Everyone's very to themselves.
Yep.
Everyone's quiet. You don't speak unless spoken to. You go the complete opposite. You go to public schools. Everyone does their own fucking thing. You know,
Everybody's different.
everyone expresses themselves. Maybe not in a positive way, but at least you can express yourself.
Yeah.
You
What?
know.
Let me see what Ada said. He said, so many people use fitting into their peer group as a purpose in life and use it to define their character. A big problem with it is that you label yourself as something else other than yourself. Yeah,
Right.
honestly. You're not like at that point, you're not living life for yourself. You're living life to fit in with this group of people that I, like earlier, as I said,
Oh,
that honestly don't give a shit about you.
I was just gonna say that. You said live your life for yourself, and it made me think of, yeah, so weird how it connects.
It is, dude, this is weird. Everything is just like.
Life, life is so much mindset and mentality. Like I have these fucking whiteboards, and like pro tip for you, if you're a little ADD or if you just need a easy way to like express yourself and your thoughts and how to improve, whiteboards and notebooks.
Yep. I have
Like
one of
I
them.
have probably 6 notebooks just laying here. Like whenever I have an idea, I just start writing stuff down. Or whenever I have a thought, I'll start writing stuff down. Because then you start to like the thoughts in the back of your head that you don't want to talk about, because not everyone's comfortable talking, even like to themselves out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can't just sit in a room and like say something to themselves. So writing, drawing, any form of self-expression, but like for the discipline portion of mentality, I use these whiteboards a lot because every day I have to see it.
Yep.
And if I write something down, I have to wake up, I have to look at it, and I see it, and I'm like, okay, this this is what I created. This was my vision. This is what I came up with. This is my thought. I have to execute on this because if not, I'm letting myself down. And like you were saying before, the only person that ever has your back is really yourself. So
100%.
why would you let that person down?
Yeah.
Like that blows my mind a lot too. Like why would you hate? I think it's where a lot of confidence stems from in people. It's like if you're only given one body, one life, one mind, why would you tear it down? Why wouldn't you just be comfortable with who you are and just own that shit?
Own that
I
shit
think it just comes from the
100%.
conformity that we're brainwashed into and trying to be people pleasers.
There's 7 billion people in this world, but nobody's like you, you know what I mean? There's no
Yo.
reason you should try to mimic somebody else. Everybody's unique in their own way. Express that uniqueness because you never know where that uniqueness can take you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's crazy
Damn.
like that.
That is crazy.
Like on my whiteboard, the thing I wrote, I remember going into 2020, the first thing I wrote on my board was manifest your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because really the way you think has a lot more impact on your life than what people realize.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people will walk around saying their life is so bad, everything bad happens to them, it's only them, and they want to feel sorry for, you know what I
Pity,
mean?
yeah. They want a pity party.
Yeah, rather than saying flip the script. If you look at everything positively, like we've been saying this whole time, you can change the way you think. You can change the way you experience life just by changing the way
The
you think.
mindset, the way you think, yeah.
Your subconscious is constantly working, whether you're awake or asleep. So you have to reprogram that. You have to reach deep into the back of your brain. And it's not as hard as people like, it's not as hard as I'm probably making it sound
It
by
really
saying
isn't.
like reach into your mind. Like it's not mystic orbs and shit like that. Like literally just stand in front of a mirror first thing in the morning, just be like, I am confident, I am loved, I'm a badass. Like that's all you gotta fucking do. And you'll feel 10 times better about yourself.
I'm trying to find that quote in the book where it says, here's the $1 million question. If all circumstances remain the same, like if everything remained the same in one of your past memories, but you just change the way you think about it, like, could that really change your like emotions on it? You know what I mean? Like change your mindset on it. And I personally think it really can. What did he say? I have also have ADD. As someone with it, the wild
Facts.
creative ideas in your head are always shot down. When I was growing up, being like other people to fit in always sucked because it was boring. Everyone is the same. And since my personality was always shot down as being weird, it ruined a lot of my confidence back in high school.
Justice. 100%. That's what I was just saying when I looked in the camera and deep into the eyes of the audience. That's what I was saying. You just have to tell yourself, that's what, yeah, what I was saying earlier, positive affirmation. You hit the nail right on the head.
Mhm.
Positive affirmations are one of the best ways to do it because not only are you thinking it, but you're saying it and you're hearing it. So instead of just thinking it, now you have 3 forms that you're telling yourself basically what you want to become. And like everybody's different, but that's such a good way to do it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, nobody's weird. I think the word weird is just like I don't know. It's
No, no,
such
no,
a
no,
hateful word
no,
for
no, no,
no
no, no.
reason.
Emrah, own that shit. I am weird. I'm weird as
Yeah,
fuck,
honestly. But yeah, you're right. Honestly, like people take things like too seriously in this world.
dude.
Like
I
you
don't give
you
a
you sh-
fuck. I
you
live my life how I want to live it.
exactly like you can't take life too seriously. If you take life too seriously,
You're not
any
gonna have fun
small
with it.
inconvenience is just gonna bother you for
Why
so
wouldn't you have
bad.
fun with life?
Yeah, you have one
Like
life. Live it to the fullest.
people tell me more often than not, why are you so weird? Because being normal is fucking boring.
It is.
Why would you want to be normal? Why would you want to be like everybody else? You want to be a clone? You want to be a cookie cutter son of a bitch? Hell no. I want to be that goofy motherfucker that sits in the corner and people are like, who is that dude? I want to be
Yep.
him
Yep.
because I'm having fun. You guys aren't. That's the way I look at it.
But with
I'm
that,
like,
you could have those people that are like, "Who's that goofy guy in the corner?" But on the flip side of it, there's gonna be those people that are like, "Who the fuck is that weirdo? Like, get him out."
yeah,
It just depends on what group you choose to focus on. And if you choose on the people that want you in their lives, like voluntarily invite you in, like that's a real that's like a true friend group. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to change a single aspect about you, but they still accept you for who you are.
oh yeah.
That's
That's what I'm
that's a
saying.
true
After
friend
high
group.
school, you really find out who your true friends are
A hundred
because the
percent.
ones that really want to stick around will. Like, there was a short film or a movie. I don't know what the hell it was, but it made me think about it. This guy had his dad send out wedding invitations for him, right, to all of his
Hmm.
friends. But instead of saying, "Hey, you're invited to a wedding," he sent out a letter saying, "Hey, I'm in some really deep shit. I need your help. I need like money or something like that. So you need to come to this address at this time." And like only a small percent of his friends really showed up, and it turned out to be a wedding. Like it was something dumb, but I took so much from that because there's so much truth behind that,
No, yeah, for sure.
and
It shows who's really there for you when you like hit rock bottom.
it comes full circle.
Damn, that's really good. That's a very interesting way of looking at it.
Isn't it crazy? Literally, like that thought alone was a little bit different than what you may have thought of it.
Hmm.
But now it's like, oh shit, like it opened your, and the same thing, like same thing goes for me. Like the way you think of, and that's why I love this podcast because all of us can have different thoughts and different opinions and we can just collaborate on it. And
Hmm.
it's a lot of fun. Like I enjoy.
And I love the live aspect of it, like seeing, like reading people's opinions on something and like either helping them through it is just so like I don't know, it feels good. You know what I mean? Like I was
Yeah,
very nervous
best.
going into this, but it's actually like crazy, interesting, and unique. Isaac, what's your Isaac? Isaac, what's your view on medication for ADD, ADHD? I don't really
Never
have
taken
much.
any, never been on it, never done anything. Don't even know if I have it. I just know when I'm thinking of something, I could be thinking about it super hard, then gone. I'm on to the next thing. And honestly, here's the thing. There's so much more. Why the fuck would you suppress that? That's like the most creative people, I think, are people with ADD because instead of just having simple mundane thoughts, you have a million thoughts at once. And yes, I can understand like extreme cases of it where you can't even do simple tasks. But I think people will take like mild ADD and then they'll medicate for it just to like tone you down. And then you become like this blob of just
I think the
normalness. Like you're
reason
just
people do
okay, I'm
medicate for it
here.
is
Yeah.
due to education. Because when you go to school and you're getting bad grades, the first thing the nurse says is boom, ADD, put him on medication. And it sucks, you know what I mean? Like my brother, he got I think he had ADD, but my parents wouldn't give him medication. And I'm like, he doesn't need medication. Like he acts like like he's normal, you know what I mean? He doesn't act any like weird way. He doesn't
He's a
do
fucking
any
kid.
out of pocket shit. He's a kid, bro.
Let him have his imagination.
Exactly.
Adults don't have imagination, bro. I'm that one dude. You'll catch me watching Disney movies to the day I die. I love that shit. Anime,
Hell yeah.
Disney, I'm the weird kid. Call me it. I don't care.
Hey, anybody in the chat, ask some questions. I'd love to answer some questions, whether it be like business related, mindset related.
Should I
I,
get,
I love
I'm
this.
trying to think of like tips that have helped me because it's so weird. Like in high school, for example, I got a concussion, and that's what put me out of like sports and stuff for a while. And that's when I was alone a lot.
Hmm.
I go to school, I go to work, I come home and I have like 4 to 5 hours of just like nothing. Like, what do I do? Do I just watch movies? Do I just play games? I mean, I had homework, but I didn't give a fuck about it
Yeah,
because
screw homework.
I could BS my way through school most of the time. Like I still passed with honors, even though I BS'd everything.
Yeah, I definitely
Like
didn't pass
it
with
didn't take much.
honors.
But like I focus on stuff that actually I enjoy doing and stuff that actually like I would stay up till 3 a.m. working on that fucking clothing line in high school just because I thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like school, work on the clothing line till 3 a.m., sleep, then fucking start all over again. And
That's
it's
an
not
interesting mindset. I saw a thing that about Elon Musk that said he's now worth like 200 something billion dollars. I don't know exactly the number.
mhm.
Um, Money shouldn't be the root of what you want to do for success. You know what I mean? Like you can't be like, "Oh, I want $1 million, then I'll feel successful." Money should be the byproduct of success. Like exactly like Elon Musk. He's a billionaire. He doesn't give a shit about money, bro.
Because he's having fun.
Exactly. He's having fun doing what he loves to do. If he if he were to invest back in the day into Tesla with only monetary goals, like with money and all that,
He would have
he
gone
would
as
have
far as he
failed. You
did.
know what I mean? Tesla still hasn't made money. Tesla still hasn't made profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's here's a crazy thing that me and my dad were even talking about the other day was that we are so I keep saying this, we're programmed. We really are.
Yep, we are.
But we were talking about specifically money because you brought that up. And we look and because I was telling him whether you're a billionaire at a company or whether you're the janitor, I'm treating you with the same respect because A, you're still human. You're no
Mhm.
better than the next person just because you have money. But because we have such like a stigma of status in our heads and it comes from society, like why do you think we call it lower, middle, high class? Like
Mhm.
that alone
Yeah.
separates us. Like, god damn it, I'm losing my train of thought again.
No, I feel you. Like somebody from from the low class and the high class, those are like other than the money, they could be two of the exact same people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I think what happens is people get too caught up in the money because they want to be looked at a certain way and that all
Mhm.
comes back to caring about other people's opinions.
Mhm.
Because people will focus on the money. People will focus on how much money you make and how much shit you have. But you can't take that with you when you die. So why does it matter?
But that's like a very specific mindset, and I feel like that's very rare because
Mhm.
especially nowadays with like YouTube celebrities, TikTok celebrities, the first thing most of these kids do that blow up on TikTok or YouTube is they head their ass straight to the fucking Gucci store and spend 10 bands. Like
Facts.
all that stuff is just to like show like yeah I got money and like I know back in the day like me and you've talked about this numerous times I used to spend stupid money on like dumb designer shit but looking back at it it was the biggest waste of time and money in my life. The real reason I bought designer clothes, and again I told Isaac this a million times, was like when people look at a pair of, for example, Gucci shoes, they look at the shoes, they look at the person, they're like damn he has those shoes, and you get this like little high inside like how do like
How did you get there? Why can't I have that?
you get this euphoric feeling like this dude's like recognizing me. But
Right.
those people recognize you for those. They don't recognize you for you. And
Why
I
do you
feel like
think
like
truly rich
designer clothes is just for like people who like I don't even know
want
how
to
to
look
explain it.
rich?
For the look, yeah, they just do it for the look.
There's a difference between looking rich and being rich. People would rather. Why do you think people in like Section 8 housing will drive around in nice fucking cars with like the big rims and shit like that, and have all these nice things, but they're poor as fuck still? Like so many people would rather buy nice stuff just so they can look a certain way, rather than just what was it? Was a great example of this. The difference between looking rich and being rich. Like look at Bill Gates. That motherfucker wears the same loafers, the same chaps, and the same
Not a
sweater
single
for the
Gucci
past
belt in
40 years.
sight.
Right. Look at the lizard Facebook guy. What's his name?
Oh, Mark
Zuckerberg.
Zuck.
He's worn the same shirt for the past like 20 years, dude.
I know.
Like,
And like that's how you stay rich, you know what I mean? Like when you
yeah,
make your first $1,000 paycheck, a lot of people are going to go online and spend half of it on clothes. Dude, this H&M sweater, I spent maybe $5 and used a few coupons. I wear it every single fucking day.
bro, but it works.
It
Like I got
works, you know
this
what I mean?
I got this as a gift, which I love this shirt because it says laugh now, but one day we'll be in charge. It's a
I
great
like
shirt.
that. That's a very
It's a
good shirt.
Banksy, I'm pretty sure. If you guys know who Banksy is, he's a
Thanks Ada for that.
yo, what's up?
What's up, Sinan? Let's see what some of
Welcome.
these people said. Idri said, I was diagnosed with epilepsy at age 12 and everyone looked at me differently because of it. Always putting doubts in my head and saying I can't do this and that and shit and got me and shit got at me first, but now my mentality is I'm unique because I'm epileptic and I overcame everything that came my way due to my condition, and nothing can stop me from achieving my goals. That's a very good mindset. Like
Yes.
just like I've been with Idris, you know, I've been with him. I've seen him struggle. I've seen like this. I've seen like the shit he goes through, and anybody with epilepsy, it's probably hard as fuck finding a job, finding a relationship, just doing anything that like a healthy person would be able to do, because like you never know when something like that's going to hit. But being able to overcome all those difficulties and like all that shit talking that people are doing and still having those goals in mind that you want to achieve is
It
super,
must
it's
feel,
super humbling, and it's like it's motivating me, you know what I mean?
it's empowering,
It's
dude.
empowering.
Like not only to, it should be empowering to yourself,
Mhm.
because as a person with epilepsy, you are able to do equal to or more than what people without it can do, and you're in the eyes of other people, you're a leg down because of, like, you know what I mean, like you have a disability but you're still doing better than people without one. Like,
Yeah,
that
a
should be
hundred
empowering to
percent.
you, and it's motivating to people in similar situations, and then maybe they'll want to do something. If you can walk into a room of 1,000 people and impact one life, you've done your job right.
A
That's
hundred
the way I look at
percent.
anything. Because, and that's one reason that I don't care what people think, because, like, dude, there's 7 billion of us in the world. If I can impact one person, I've done my job, because I've changed that person's life, and maybe for the better, hopefully for the better. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's all we can really hope for. And that's why I love the podcast, because
Yeah, believe
all it
it.
does is bring people together, and we can have these topics of discussion where we can talk about things that maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable talking about with your friends or your family.
Mhm.
You can talk to us, and I mean, we'll give you our opinions on it, and we'll talk you through it, because I mean, we're here to try and help people. We're not going to make fun of you for it. You can make fun of us all you want. I make fun of
Yeah, make
myself.
fun of me. Please make fun of me.
Bro, if you've ever seen like Eminem 8 Mile, or if you listen to anything Eminem, bro, why do you think he got so successful? Because he realized that people are going to make fun of him no matter what. So instead of letting it take him down, he made it his strength. And that's why he's like one of the best battle rap MCs ever, is because he will make fun of himself before you can even get to it.
Mhm.
And it's like, that kind of mindset is what you have to take in life. Like, dude, like, what the fuck does it matter what you think? Who are you?
Mhm.
What do you do for me? Do you feed me? Do you feed my dog over here? No, you don't. Which, by the way, you kind of
Luna,
see him laying down
hey.
there.
My brother just commented believe it Naruto, and I forgot to touch on it, but I kind of want to touch on it now.
Ah, yeah,
So
that's so funny.
in Naruto, what he always said, his catchphrase was "believe it," and a little bit of a backstory to it is Naruto. Both of his parents were killed in the war. He was all by himself. Everybody loathed him because he had this secret power in him that nobody liked because they were afraid it was going to terrorize their entire nation. But Naruto, he had different goals in mind. You know, he wanted to be like the best of the best. He wanted to be the Hokage in like the Naruto like show, which basically is like the president of the United States, like the head of the country. And he kept telling himself, like I'm gonna be there, believe it. He kept telling himself that. He kept reassuring himself. He kept telling himself he's gonna be the best of the best, even though he like Idris, he was like, what did you use? He had a handicap. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Nobody believed in him. Nobody wanted anything to do with him. Everybody wanted him to die, just leave the earth. But he just kept telling them, "I'm gonna be it. Believe it." And that's
I like the
that's what I
sloth
like about the
hairs.
podcast is just believe in yourself. You know what I mean? Idris, like you can do anything you want to do. You know what I mean? Just believe in yourself. We're here. We believe in you. Everybody believes in you. It's all about you. You know what I mean? It's all about mindset. You gotta believe it, and that's where the podcast was originated from. Naruto Uzumaki. Hell yeah.
I'm putting this on my live on Instagram. I have to now. Oh
People
my god.
people with disabilities have creative minds and could do so much in this world, but get overlooked because they aren't normal or high class when it comes to society as a whole. I agree. I've seen a lot of videos of kids specifically with autism doing like insane shit. Like
Oh yeah, dude.
zooming in on a map and naming that specific city like without any like words or anything, like the most crazy shit. And then I think on Dr. Phil or Oprah, there's a kid, I think he also had autism. He knew he like you he, like there's a woman with the calculator. They'd say like 8 times this times this time this, and the kid would
And
spit
just
out the number just off
boom.
gate, and they couldn't even finish typing it on the calculator. Like it's so weird in this world how like the people with disabilities are the people with the most creative minds.
Oh, absolutely. And it's those people that get dogged on the most because they're
Mhm.
different. Again, conformity. mindset, mentality, all of that shit comes full circle when you really start to think about it, and you think about it in that way,
Mhm.
and you start to see life a lot differently. You start to see a lot of you start to really start questioning a lot of things that way. And that's what you have to do. You have to continuously question life. Instead of saying, oh well, I guess, and in some ways too, you obviously you have to question it, but you have to also be able to just be like, okay, it is what it is.
Mhm.
Move on. You can't be so
Serious. You can't take it too seriously.
right. Like there's I don't want to say don't take life serious at all, because to
To
a
an
certain
extent, you
extent,
have to. Yeah.
yeah, like when you take your passions, take those seriously. People's opinions, don't. Like you have to know how to dilute the waters, and how to,
Mhm.
divert what's coming at you into certain categories. Like it's just mind blowing, again, how much can change just by changing your mentality.
Oh, for sure.
Like those
Like,
kids with disabilities, dude. I came across, I followed this on Instagram. I forget what it's called. It's called like the, oh my gosh, I'm struggling. But what I'm trying to get at, there was this kid who had autism, and he really liked socks. That's a very weird thing. But he started a fucking business, and he's doing very well from himself selling custom socks. Like shit like that, dude. Like,
yeah,
like
that's
people
so
are probably like, oh,
interesting.
he's so weird because he obsesses about socks. Now he's got a brand on
Where
his
he's
own
making millions of dollars, looking
with
back on those
autism.
people like,
And those
fuck
people
you.
probably feel so fucking stupid because one, this kid did what they couldn't with a disability, and he did it in their face.
Right
You
in
know
their
what I
face.
mean?
That's probably the best. The best feeling is proving somebody wrong, or
The
that little
best
like
revenge is
revenge.
success, man.
Like revenge, honestly, yeah, revenge is a success. All those people like Idris, all those people who used to talk shit about you, or even still do talk shit about you, when you finally get to where you want to be and you succeed, dude, you're gonna have like, I'm not saying go and like go to their face and be like, ha, like I made it, fuck you, but like
Yeah.
you're just gonna have that status of like, damn, like I talked shit about him, but now he's doing better than me.
And you stay humble about it.
You do stay humble, yeah, stay humble. You don't want to be one of those people that like blows
Yeah, I
up.
am better than you. Don't be that
Yeah,
person.
you never
No
want to
one
be
likes
that
that
person.
person.
If anything, kill him with kindness. Killing people with
Absolutely.
kindness is it's insane. It's very nice.
Dude,
It's humbling.
so on a regular basis, because I'm in sales, because
Mhm.
we were talking about earlier about like a little bit about ourselves, like what
Mhm.
I do sales. That's what my job is. That's my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I do work a 9 to 5, guys. I'm not fucking guru millionaire over here. No, I'm
Broke
living at home with
loser.
parents right now. I work a 9 to 5. I do my due diligence, okay? But at the same time, I deal with so many people on a regular basis, and it's very eye-opening working in that field, because you get to meet a lot of people, and you get to pick the brains of a lot of people, and you
Mhm.
start to realize how people think. And when you talk to, I mean, like I've talked to over thousands of people, dude. Like it's fucking insane. And like, damn it, I lost my train of thought again.
You're talking about sales and how you impact people and
I know, but
different
you were
things.
saying something before. And anyways, what I was trying to say was, a lot of people have a negative thought process about something when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Like coming in to buy a car. Like, let me give you an example. Someone comes in to buy a car and they're in a bad mood. Okay, great. Your car broke down. You got in an accident, but you're alive still. You're in
Mhm.
front of me right now. That's one thing to be grateful about and thankful for. You probably have a roof over your head if you can buy a car. That's another thing to be thankful for. You probably have food in your stomach if you're able to walk
Mhm.
in here. It's another
Yeah.
thing to be thankful for. The fact that you can buy a car is something to be thankful for.
Mhm.
Like perspective goes back to mentality mindset. Having perspective to put yourself in other people's shoes and say, listen, my situation's bad, but there's people out there without
With
water,
worse, yeah.
without a
Like
family,
for
without
example,
shelter.
I was driving home it's probably like a month ago, and this was like when it was like snowing and raining like day after day after day. I'm driving home on Lima, and it's raining. I'm driving, and I see a dude on a moped driving in the rain. You know what I mean? It's like sub 30-degree temperature. Like, dude, I didn't know how to feel. I felt sad. I felt like embarrassed because like he's in that position, but I'm in this position. Like I really wish I could have pulled over and like given him something. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
have food on your plate, a roof over your head, let alone a car to drive, you just gotta enjoy the little things in life.
you're better
It's
off than a
not.
lot of people in the
You're
world.
better off than a lot of people, and like especially from these like third world countries. Like there's people around the world who don't have food to eat. Like every single day, especially when we talked to Morgan that one time about that Amish guy.
Hmm.
That hit me on a different level,
Can I
bro.
tell them the story?
Yes, please tell him the
Okay.
story.
So when I say perspective, guys, this is kind of what I'm talking about. So I have a close friend of mine, name's Morgan, and he was working with these Amish people. And the Amish got money. If you didn't know that, I know people dog on the Amish, but bro, they got money. So
Like an
this dude,
unhealthy amount of cheese,
this
man.
dude has $150 million. I'm gonna say that again so you guys hear me. $150 million, not in assets,
Straight
cash,
cash.
cash in his bank account. Okay. Closed a deal with Tesla for like woodworking stuff, right? And Morgan, being new to how they work and operate, was okay, like great, like let's celebrate. They're out eating and having a good time. And Morgan in his head was probably thinking, oh, I'm done for the day. We just closed a big deal, this and that. Amish guy gets a call. And on the call, it was his brother who's back at the farm. And he was saying, hey, we've gotten a lot of work done. Sun's gonna set in about 2 hours. Should we close up shop? Dude checks his watch.
His watch.
Yeah, his watch, because he has one. Checks his watch, gets back on the phone and says, no, we got 2 more hours of sunlight. I should be there in about 30 minutes to an hour. We'll have another hour to bale hay and shovel. So not only is this $150 million man willing to go shovel shit, bale hay, and
Literally
work the
shovel
land,
shit.
literally, yeah, when you're Amish, bro, you got fucking cattle, horses, you got animals that you got to take care of. Not only is he worth that much money and willing to do that, but he's willing to do that after he just closed a phenomenal fucking deal like it's nothing. Because what they care about most is setting them and their family up for life. That's their lifeblood. They don't care about the money, dude.
Not at
And
all.
that's a perspective that I think most people will never understand.
I
I
still is it
can't
still
understand.
baffles me. Like that
Yeah,
story.
but it's a humbling story. Like it
Very
should
humbling.
humble you to think that this person with this much money is still willing to go do what most people won't do. And it just blew my mind. Perspective is so important and so much more important than what people realize. Again, it goes back to mindset. Your mindset, putting things in perspective, putting things in a way that can positively impact you or the person next to you.
Mhm.
It's just crazy.
No, and it's super interesting. Like when I got back into my car, after I left his office, I'm getting in my car and all I can think about is this man who could literally buy anything on the planet. And I'm sitting there like, man, I'm sitting here like I used to worry about like the dumbest shit, like new clothes, new this, new that. And this man has 150 cash in the bank. Like I need to be
And
more down to earth.
for a fact he's wearing the same boots he's had for 10 years, the same button-up white t-shirt and overalls, or suspenders and same hat.
When the Amish work, they don't work for money to go blow it on shit. You know what I mean? Like every now and then they'll take a vacation. I mean, honestly, I don't know how the Amish work at all, but they don't work for money to go spend it on dumb shit. If they're spending money, it's on
Things
a
to
hay
help their family
baler,
and to
things to
help.
help the family, help the farm, just make things a little easier if they need it.
I grew up with some of the Amish, dude, because that's like who my grandpa was friends with.
Yeah.
And like going over there and just seeing the way they live is so much different. Cause I mean, like some of them are hardcore, like
Mhm.
no electricity really. Like they're like old
Candles and
timey.
shit.
And then there's some that are like a little bit more modern, like they'll use a cell phone, they'll use cars and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But either way you look at it, dude, they live a completely different lifestyle than most of us are willing to live because
That's
it's
a frugal
uncomfortable.
lifestyle.
Because it's uncomfortable to us.
Mhm.
We like being comfy. We like our nice things and our
It's the
hot
FOMO. It's the
showers. And
FOMO.
dude, like I'll tell you what's another humbling experience. Just going to Peru, South America, and seeing my grandpa's village and taking a cold shower every day from the fucking mountain water.
Oh shit.
That's what they use. That's how you walk your ass out the back door. Okay, there's a tree with some like 2x4s and a tarp, right? And then there's this little spigot held up by like shoestrings and like, and I know this probably sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not, because this is what I saw and I was blown away. Because I walk out here in the mud and I'm like, okay, this is where they shower at.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go there, and I wasn't expecting cold water because I'm a privileged little white boy,
Mm-hmm.
apparently. And I get there and I shower, and I'm like, holy fuck, they do this every day. And like another experience, I remember I was in bed one night and they're just out there like 2 a.m. killing an ox or a cow or a bull in the middle of the street. Like I wake up the next morning, I get out there, and there's just blood in the road. Like they just middle of the night, oh, time to work, fucking kill a bull, get its meat, sell it the next day, keep moving on.
Hell yeah.
Like perspective, dude. Perspective is so important.
Aldo here just sent a 10-second clip. I'm gonna play it and see what it's about.
What are you doing, Tommy?
Playing some filthy Star Wars.
Shoveling shit, Scully. Just like you.
Why are you doing that, Tommy?
To remind myself
While you're watching
what
that,
I'd be. I
some,
wasn't who I am.
That is an interesting clip.
more, oh, you gotta play it.
Oh, did you see it? I played it on the stream. Basically, if you want to pull it up on yours, what's it called? On
Oh
your
no, this
computer.
is good one. Peaky Blinders. That's what Morgan watches too.
Yeah, that's the clip that he sent. It was the clip where he was literally shoveling shit or raking shit.
Mhm.
Already almost an affiliate. What? Off of one stream? That's crazy. No, but like podcast aside, all these people that are in here, I don't know,
It's
the
called
numbers
Peaky
keep
Blinders.
updating.
E3s. It's called Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, but all these people that are in here, it's telling me 19 people are in here. Um Whether you were just sitting back and watching, actually like engaging, we for real appreciate it. Like me and
Yeah,
Isaac were
thank
so
you.
anxious and all that coming into this, but it's a good vibe, and I really can't
Thank you.
wait for our first like guest because I feel like it's gonna be a lot more perspective.
Mhm.
It's gonna be like more topic because I know me and Isaac were kind of touching on just like mindset and all that stuff, bro, all that stuff. But this is just the base. We have a lot of stuff planned. We're gonna talk about stuff from stocks, real estate. Isaac does real estate, to aliens, to one of our people that wanted to hop on wanted to talk about the roles that a father figure plays on their children, which I think is a very
Dude,
it's a very crazy topic to talk about.
absolutely.
But
There's if we're talking about like mindset, discipline, stuff like that, and you guys want like some tips or
yeah.
like anything like that, feel free to follow us on Instagram
Mhm.
and like Snapchat and stuff like that, and message us, because I'd be more than happy to reach out and talk to any one of you personally, whether it's on FaceTime or texting or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm a busy guy, but I'm willing to take time out of my day to help you guys out in any way I can.
Likewise. Yeah, likewise.
There's a lot of ways to go about, because everybody's obviously different, and everybody's gonna learn differently, because I just from experience, that's just how people are. But like when it comes to discipline, mindset, and stuff like that, I mean, the best way you can start doing that, someone said earlier, was daily affirmations. It's a great way to
Mhm.
start. Just telling yourself you're better, telling yourself you're not what your mind is thinking and manifesting in itself, because
So
your
with that,
subconscious will think of terrible things just to think of terrible things.
with the daily affirmations, just could you give a quick like tutorial on how one would do a daily affirmation?
Yeah, like here, like simply, just go up to your mirror, right? Get up real close.
Hell
Real
yeah.
close, right? Look yourself in the eye. Gotta be serious about it.
Here, let me join in.
I love myself. I'm better today than I was yesterday. I'm gonna continue to better myself. Everything that I'm doing now is to set myself up for the future. I love myself. I am confident. I am strong. And like, just find a mantra. Find a fucking mantra
Hell
and
yeah.
just tell yourself the same thing every day. And you will legitimately, you'll go from this to like even just taking a deep breath. Do breathing techniques if you're stressed out and anxious. Like
One thing that
for
I
me,
do, you can go ahead, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say for me, like what works is writing stuff down and scheduling myself. Like for the morning, yeah, like a notebook. I have my notes on my phone and I have a full schedule on there, like wake up at this time, which most days I'd wake up at 5:30. So I wake up at 5:30. Then I meditate, do my daily affirmation, do my thoughts for the day. Because meditation, honestly, is very underrated. When you sit down in the morning, as soon as you wake up, and the thing is too, this is something that can help you guys out. Um, waking up early is not just to wake up early. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be at 5 a.m. You can wake up, at 6, 7, 8. Wake up earlier than you normally would, because when you slowly start your day, the rest of the day is a lot less stressful. You create a lot of your own stress at the beginning of the day just by rushing. Like if you're the type of person that sleeps in and then rushes to work, rushes to school, of course you're gonna be stressed because you were stressed as soon as you woke up, because as soon as you woke up, you were late. Wake
Yeah.
up a little earlier. Take a little time just to stretch, just to talk to yourself. Maybe read a little bit or do something you enjoy doing in the morning. Make a breakfast and make the mornings enjoyable for yourself, because if you don't, you're going to stress yourself out for the day. And if that's the tone you set every single day, how do you ever expect to relieve those stress levels? How a lot of people do it: drinking, drugs, partying, or any of that kind of stuff. There's a lot to be said about having a morning routine that can benefit your mental health, not only your physical health. Like I promise you, if you wake up tomorrow an hour early and you spend 5 minutes, there's an app called Headspace if you want some help
Yep.
meditating. Get on Headspace, put on your headphones and just listen. I promise you, you will feel better to some extent. And then just do some light stretching. Have a tall glass of water when you wake up. I only drink water, I swear. Like I don't understand pop. I don't like it. It's too sugary.
Yeah, I don't like
I'm
pop
weird.
either. I think tea is also a very healthy thing to drink as well. I replaced
I
all
like
of my
coffee.
coffee. I replaced all my coffee with caffeinated
I'm
tea.
bad.
Really?
I like my coffee in the morning, my espressos. I'm a little bit of a bitch.
I
I
just
won't
wanted
lie.
to see if they could read this quote. I don't know if it's backwards. It says, "Life is now, and now is amazing
Because you're alive.
because you're alive, because you're in the current space that you're at right now."
Like think about how crazy it is. Think about how crazy it is to be alive. Think about how crazy it is to not only be alive, but to be somewhere where you can watch people talk on a screen and where you can connect with
And
people.
resonate with, yeah.
Yeah. But like my
And
dog's moving, she's funny. Um, yeah, man. When it comes to like trying to start, because a lot of people struggle with the start.
they overthink it before they even do it.
Right. So Jocko Willink, if any of you know who Jocko Willink is, he's an ex-Navy SEAL, certified badass. And one of the things that he said in an interview or podcast or something like that was, and this was for the mornings, but I applied this to almost anything I do in life, is don't think, just do it. Like in the
Yeah.
morning, what's the first thing you do in the morning? You start thinking about how cozy and warm your bed is, how nice it is to keep your head on
How
the pillow,
comfortable you
how
are.
nice. Once you stop thinking so much, in the sense of like the little dumb stuff that holds you back, you just start doing action, start taking action, things become a lot clearer, and you realize how easy it is to just start doing stuff rather than how hard you make it seem in your own head.
Mm-hmm.
So to all my people who are watching right now, we love you.
We do.
If you want to start helping your mindset and discipline out, dude,
We can recommend a
don't
shit
think
ton of
so
books.
much about the little stuff. Stop
Yeah.
doing what ifs, what ifs, what ifs. Just go, is this
The
going to
reason
put
people
me at
do,
detriment or in
yeah.
a worse position?
The reason people do, like in the book Solve for Happy, the people reason do what ifs and start overthinking is because they're afraid of doing something that's going to take them out of their comfortable space. And I want to see if I can find like the little graph real quick that he talked about. But like there's always like a root fear to everything. That root fear adds layers on top of layers right here. So public speaking, for example, a lot of people are afraid of public speaking, but it's not the idea of talking in front of people that they're afraid of. So what the beginning layer of their fear is public speaking, but underneath that, they're afraid of missing expectations, like for example, getting booed off stage, like stuttering on stage, forgetting a line, just making an embarrassment out of themselves. And then the next layer of fear under that is feeling the ridicule, people booing them off stage, people like just talking shit in the crowd. But the ultimate fear, especially when it comes to public speaking specifically, is just the fear of rejection, the fear of just like looking like an idiot. And I feel like that's the case with a lot of people. The reason people are so afraid of even taking action is just the fear of ridicule, the fear of failing. And I know we touched on the fear of failing earlier, when we were talking about starting a business and just doing your own path away from what your parents expect you to do. But failure, failure and fear are something that you're gonna have to deal with. Like regardless of what you do, whether
So
you go to
embrace.
college, yeah, whether you go to college, whether you start a business, you can't let the fear sway you from your goals. You have to embrace it, find a way to deal with it, and just keep pushing forward. Like the analogy I
And
used earlier was a speed bump isn't meant to total a car. A speed bump,
yes,
you slow your car down, get over the bump, keep going. And that's just the same with fear, same with any obstacles. They're not supposed to stop you from your path. They're just supposed to test you, you know what I mean?
absolutely. And I think like for me, when we're talking about fear, everyone has something to fear.
Mhm.
Everyone has something that they're scared of. And I'll tell you my biggest fear, because I like that quote though.
Yeah, what
Whoever
Ada
is
said.
first in the field and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. Whoever is second in the field and has to hasten to the battle will arrive exhausted. Yeah, that's going back to what I was saying about starting the mornings off. Yeah. Um, but to go back to what we were saying about fear, my biggest fear in life is regret,
Mhm.
because imagine, and here's a great way, if you want some real life hard ass perspective, go to a nursing home and start talking to these old people and ask them about what are your biggest fears and regrets, and you will get some real fucking answers if
Yep.
you guys don't believe me. So I think the biggest fear anyone should have is regrets of not, like, think about yourself at the end of your life. Do you want to sit there and say, okay, I was a good man or woman and I worked hard and now I'm here? Or do you want to say, I changed some people's lives. I did something to better myself, to better someone else. It could be one
Mhm.
person, it could be a million people. It doesn't matter. You change one person's life. That's all that matters, man.
Yeah.
The biggest thing we should not fear failure. We should fear regret,
Mhm.
because that's what holds, I think that will stop holding a lot of us back. That's what stopped holding me back a lot with the things I do. Is like I fear I used to fear failure like most people did. And then I started fearing regret way more. So then that just X-nayed everything about failure. I'm like, you know what? If I fail, am I in a worse position? Am I any worse off? Am I gonna die from it? Am I gonna be any worse off really if I lose my job? Or if I try this venture and it doesn't work out, am I really any worse off? And if the answer is no, then why are you holding back from doing it?
Yeah. My biggest fear is laying on my deathbed and asking myself, was that really all life had in store for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Like, is
in the
that
same
like
ties with
like did I give
regret,
my
you know what I
all?
mean? Yeah, did I give it my all? Did I do the best of my ability to give myself and my future like children a life that is reputable, not even reputable, just like leaves an impact like you said on somebody. Like I don't want to be on my I want to be on my deathbed and not have a single thought in my head, knowing that like everything that I could have done, I did. And Diablito said, "You know that you do that and in the future good will come, God will reward you." And of course, God,
Karma's a
I'm
bitch.
not crazy religious myself. I follow Islam, but I'm not like crazy religious. I read this quote from a shogun back in like the 1600s. One of his quotes for life was what was it? It was something around the lines of like believe in God but don't rely on God. And what he means by that is, always respect God, always have God in your heart, this that. But don't ask God for like you know what I mean, like
I want a
materialistic stuff.
Ferrari. Can I
Exactly. Don't
keep my
ask God for stuff
Ferrari?
like that because
Dude, I gotta find this quote you just made me think of. Oh, oh my gosh. Basically, the basis of it was, because you're talking about that, was that God never said He won't put you through trials, or a lot. He won't. God won't. Oh my gosh, what the hell was
you
it?
got it, you got it.
God never said He won't allow you to go through trials. He just said He won't put you through anything you're not capable of going through.
Mhm.
And I think there's so much truth to that. And I think there's a lot of truth to the fact there's a lot of truth to we are capable of much more than we really set ourselves up to believe. And again, full circle mindset.
Mhm. Diablito just rephrased it. Ask God for good life and a good future with no regrets. That's a very good. That I like that a lot better. Because you can pray for your health, you can pray for your mental stability and all that, and God will always answer. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I will always believe in God. And I really appreciate him bringing. I really appreciate him bringing that up.
Absolutely.
Man,
Yep.
I was gonna say something, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
You're starting to get that from me. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, I think I just developed ADD over the cam.
But it's crazy. It's so crazy. There's so much. Like you look at what people were able to accomplish back in the early 1900s, like starting the U.S. Or it's just like I could never see myself in a position where I'm just sitting there doing the same thing every single day monotonously.
Yeah.
Like if I am doing the same thing every day, like on a schedule, it's because of discipline and it's because I know it's gonna put me in a better place, and it's because I enjoy doing it. You have to
Yeah.
embrace the suck.
Yeah. Oh,
Actually, I
yeah.
have a
Yeah,
poster
you
on my
do.
wall. You won't be able to see it. I have a poster on my wall. It's right next to my bed. It says, "Comfort is a slow death. Prefer pain." I literally, hold on. I want to grab it
Grab that shit. I need to remove my Steam notifications. They keep popping up.
because visuals are always great.
Yeah. Comfort is a slow death. Prefer pain.
Yep, and it's not as, and it can be a little morbid if you think about it that way. Well, I don't think about it that way.
Yeah. It just
Yeah.
and that's where mindset comes back into play.
The way you experience it and the way you actually take it. So what I take from that statement, it can come in a lot of ways. Like I like working out and I like business ventures and things like that.
Mhm.
So when it says, comfort is a slow death, I see that as complacency. And I see that as once you get comfortable, then you start to allow yourself to basically disintegrate. Like you're just existing.
Yeah. You fall back into conformity.
hmm and the pain part isn't necessarily like physical pain, but it's like doing things that take you out of your comfort level.
Mhm.
You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable or you'll never progress.
Yeah, to touch on that and to touch what Adler just said, being uncomfortable is what allows you to adapt to make the uncomfortable comfortable. Um, I think I talked to you about this. I used to be a very big introvert. Like this is something like a podcast is something old Emrah would never want to do in a million years. But as I started my own business, as I started building my network of people, I realized if I want to be able to succeed, I need to step out of this introverted mindset, get a little uncomfortable, learn how to talk to people so I can flourish. Because if I was still introverted to this day, my business probably would have failed because I would have been too scared to even reach out to clients. I wouldn't have had any network. I probably would have never
Yeah,
reached
how's
out to
cold
Isaac.
cold calling's a bitch, ain't
Yeah, cold calling is a bitch. And like
it?
back in the day, if I cold called somebody, they told me no, I would have been like, okay, this business is shit. It's not going anywhere. But now somebody tells me no, and like you just got to keep working with it. You can't take no. No is when selling starts to happen. I think you told me that. The first
Yeah,
no is when the true salesman in you starts to come
steps
out.
out.
Like
Because
people
the
are
first
always
thing
going to say
anyone's gonna
no.
say is no, because it's easier to say no than yes.
Exactly. Like when
Because
especially when you're selling something, you know what I mean? It's their money. You just got to convince them that their money with us is more useful than their money with them.
okay, it's so funny. That, so there's a book. Hold on.
You're good.
By the way, we both like books on here.
A
If you guys
lot.
don't like to read, that's unfortunate.
I'll
You should
compile a
start
list of
reading.
books. Send me a list of books, and then I'll have a link to where people can just like look at all the
So this
books
is
that we've
another
read.
book I read. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Hold up, hold that there for a second.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
So in this book, and this is just a touch on because you're talking about sales. This is the first book I read. So I used to do a bunch of like random jobs. Like I worked at Walmart, I worked at Discount Tire, I worked at Walgreens, I worked at fucking Hyundai as a porter. I was like, none of this shit is fulfilling. I don't want to go to college. I'm like, I want to get into something that's going to be beneficial with what I'm good at. So again, self-awareness, mindset, mentality is okay.
Mhm.
What am I good at? What do I like doing? I like talking to people, and I've been told that people like talking to me. Not everybody. I don't care, but I know some people. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, this is the first book I read before getting into sales. And one of the biggest takeaways from it, and it talks a lot about the psychology of people, which is I like people, I like things. I'm very mechanically oriented, so I like figuring out how stuff works. And in the book, one of the things it talks about, and like the sales portion of it, for example, is that you have, or if you ever want someone to do something for you, which can go to sales, you have to make them think it was their idea.
Yeah.
And then since it's their idea, then they'll want to do it, right? Because you wouldn't have an idea about something if, or like when you go out, okay, let's say you see a hot dude or a hot chick, right?
Yeah.
You're at the bar and you want to get their attention, have them hand you a napkin, have them hand you something, because you wouldn't help someone out or do something for someone if you didn't like them.
Yeah.
And now that person likes you just because of that initial interaction. And it's the psychology portion of it. It's so much more interesting. Obviously never use that for bad things. You don't want to
Oh
use
yeah,
that
for
kind
sure.
of
There's always
psychology to fuck with people.
You got to
in
be
a negative
ethical.
way. But that's just another thing about like psychology, mindset, mentality, and the power of the human brain is that you can trick your own brain into thinking a certain way as well as others just by saying the right things and by knowing how people operate.
Here's that book again. Like I said, if you guys want, whoever's in the chat, I can get a list of all the books that we're going to read and that we have read that we feel like would be very beneficial.
There's a
Um,
lot.
books help a lot. And again, like Isaac said, books aren't for any or for not for anybody, for everybody. Like for me, I wasn't really big into books until 1 or 2 years ago. But I can compile a list. I can get a link, and you guys can just go check out those books if you'd like.
Self-education, man.
Yeah, self-education.
Best
This
form of it.
$20 book, how much is it? $17 book is probably gonna help you more through life than a fucking course that costs you $7,000 a semester.
You
And I'm
can
not
read that book and know more about psychology than a semester course, honestly.
100%.
Like,
There's so many other great books about psychology,
yeah.
but
And if you like reading, then perfect. You can fucking like. I want to have a library in my house someday. 'Cause
likewise,
I'm
yeah.
annoying.
And
I want
even
a
if you
library.
don't like reading, you can hit up an audiobook, you feel me? Or
Yeah.
just like play the podcast, you feel me? Leave it live on Spotify.
There you go. Yeah. Straight up, man. Like even YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like you can watch YouTube videos and learn so much. People don't realize how much you can learn off YouTube. Like I said before about like working on my house and building my house. People are like, oh, how do you learn most of this stuff? Like, well,
YouTube University.
either my grandpa or my dad taught me because, like I said, we all grew up working with our hands. Or I looked it up and I figured out how to do it because we are in the age where you can do that. And there's a lot of power in words. There's a lot of power in the age we live in. People just don't execute on it because it's a lot easier to just do the bare minimum and live
A comfortable life.
than
thing about
to step
comfort-
out of the comfort zone and push yourself.
I
People
think-
don't like pushing themselves anymore.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger risk to take the comfortable route. You know what I mean? Because let's say I do take the comfortable
Because
route.
it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy, but like it's so much more risky taking that route because like think about it. Ideally, a lot of people would like to travel. If I go get a job right now paying me 60K a year, let's just say 60K a year, I get maybe 1 or 2 weeks of vacation off, and that's not until I work at least a year in the business, you feel me? I get 1 or 2 weeks of vacation off, unpaid. They're not funding the vacation at all. I can only take off when they tell me I can take off. You know what I mean? And if the economy goes to shit like COVID or like 2008, you're without a job, and now you're just a couple $1,000s away from being impoverished. I think that's extremely risky. I feel like if you get a job, you need to have a side hustle. Well, you don't need to. Again, to each their own. This is just how I would approach the situation. I would have a side hustle. Like, for example, Caddick Marketing. That's my side hustle. Isaac, stock markets, Forex. That's his side hustle. A side hustle is never bad. You can never have too many streams of income. It's better security having a side hustle that's paying you half as much as your job than to just have your job all by itself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because like I
Don't
said,
put all your eggs in one basket. I
Exactly.
know fuckers have heard that before. You gotta
exactly,
put
and
all your
that
eggs in
doesn't
one
just apply to
basket.
the stock market.
Apply it to stocks, apply it to life, apply it to real estate, apply it to anything. Mindset, bro. You gotta apply. You can apply so many principles to everything you do in life, like simple principles like that. Like don't put all your eggs in one basket. You hear that as a kid, you're like, oh, okay, whatever. But then you grow up, and if you actually think about it, if you think about life in that strategic way, and that way of applying those principles, you can get a lot more out of it.
I know everybody has a friend that's wealthier than them. Everybody has a friend that's wealthier than them. And I know you're not hanging out with that friend because they discourage you. You're afraid of hanging out with them.
That's also
Start hanging out with that friend more. I promise you, hanging out with that friend once a week for 20 minutes is going to be more beneficial than you hanging out with that group of friends who's just out partying every weekend, not doing shit with their lives.
you
You know
are
what I
the
mean?
average of your 5 closest
You are,
friends.
yeah, you are the average of your 5 closest friends. If you want to stay with that friend group, by all means, feel free to do so. But if you want to be the next millionaire in your family, start hanging out with people who also want to be the next millionaires in their families.
Yep. Inclusivity of people that will benefit you, man. That's all we're
Family.
trying to do. That's all we're trying to preach. We're just trying to better you, trying to better ourselves. You know, if you guys want us to talk about certain topics, hit us up, let us know.
For sure.
We really want to talk about a little bit of everything. We're very much into
Everything.
expanding our horizon and learning new things from people.
A
Like I
hundred
said,
percent.
man, learning,
Like Idri said
education,
earlier,
knowledge.
I don't know if I can find the exact message. Excuse me. He said that he wanted to hop on the podcast and talk, and I am 100% for it. I would love to have him hop on the podcast and talk
Let's get
about
it.
his struggles with epilepsy, how he got over it. I think that'd be super interesting because he's not the only person with epilepsy in the world. And then let's say we get another epileptic person in the chat, they can have that little like that connection, you know what I mean? And that
Fun.
epileptic person could be looking at life in a way to where they dread every
Sound
single
epileptic.
second of every single day. But then there's Idris who's super optimistic about it. Having that one person in the chat and
Yeah.
Idris could change
And then
that person's life, you know what I mean?
he can give his life story and his perspective on it. You know what I mean? He can be like, oh,
Exactly.
you're struggling with this. Well, the way I dealt with it to help me out was this. And maybe that helps that person. Or if
100%.
that helps them directly, at least they can take that and find something that might help them.
And that's the goal of this podcast. We wanna bring people on who have something to voice, and hopefully that little like 1 hour, 2 hour live stream can change the lives of one single person. If we could change, not change the lives, just like help benefit one single person.
Mhm.
Like that's the goal of this podcast. It doesn't have to
Hopefully
be
something
business.
we said resonates with you.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be business. It doesn't have to be school. It doesn't have to be this. It doesn't have to be that. If an epileptic person like Idris comes on and helps another epileptic person or another person with a disability, our goal is complete. You know what I mean?
Amehi.
If you're working on something that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you, and that's kind of what we said earlier about Elon Musk. He's a billionaire, but his goal wasn't to be a billionaire. It was just a byproduct of him loving what he does to do.
Facts. I love this.
Are we gonna have to wrap this up here soon?
I think so.
Okay,
I think
so
nice hour and a
out,
half.
yeah,
Damn, that
one
went by
hour,
quick.
46 minutes and 11 seconds.
That went
That
by
was good.
crazy
I
quick.
like that. And
I'm excited for more.
yeah, me too. We had a consistent, roughly 13 to 15 viewers, and I
We
just want
appreciate
to.
you guys.
We appreciate I show you guys so much gratitude and so much
Honestly,
I
I didn't
thank
think
you
we are gonna have
guys.
anyone viewing. I was just doing this for fun.
Honestly, yeah,
I appreciate you
I
guys.
wasn't expecting anybody to hop on, but just I don't know. I'm like baffled right now. I really appreciate everybody coming on. It was very nerve wracking, but again, thank you guys for coming on. It really means a lot. Again, if anybody has an opinion they want to voice, if they want to say something that they feel like could help somebody, if they have something they want to help teach people, reach out to us, and we want to get you on this podcast. We
Appreciate
wanna
you
we
guys
wanna
watching
get
and
your
listening
voice
on
out.
live too. See you.
And then next week's guest is my good friend Alex Cortez, based out of Texas. He's going to be coming on and talking to us about the stock market. He is currently, don't quote me, he's like 120% year to date. He's up 120%. Um, and he's very good at what he does.
That's gonna
Awesome.
be fun. I'm gonna have fun with him.
Yeah, I know you guys are gonna have you're gonna have a field day with him.
Like we said before, man, we like to keep ourselves in different puddles of diversity.
Yeah, for
Whether
sure.
it's about business, like for me, I work, I do sales, I do real estate, I do stock and forex.
Hmm.
I do a little bit of everything. We're
Mhm.
doing the podcast now, which is awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Emrah,
I'm so
you got
excited
your own stuff going on too,
for
man.
sure.
So damn,
Never get comfortable. Never get comfortable.
never oof. Oof, what was the humble but never satisfied?
I like that. Yes. Yes.
I think that's Christian Guzman. If you guys know who that is, Alpha Elite. I think that's what he said. Were you in comp science?
Computer science.
I don't know. I didn't pay too much attention in school apparently. I don't remember what classes.
Okay. So before we hop off, does anybody have any questions or anything? Because I would love to answer a few more questions.
Let's give him a minute because I think there's a little bit
Yeah,
of
it's a
lag.
little
So yeah,
delayed.
if you guys have any more questions for us, anything you want us to talk about next time, spout it out now.
And then if you guys want to keep up with the podcast, we just have an Instagram for right now. It's just Believe It Live. Wait, no, is it Believe It Live? I think it might... Hold on, let me check real quick. I think it's just at Believe It Live on Instagram. We're gonna be announcing there. Hold on, let me just look it up real quick, just to be positive.
That's how you know we're that new to it because we just started. It's Believe It Podcast.
Okay. At Believe It Podcast. Follow it. We're gonna be posting updates on there, the guests, topics of conversation. Every Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Again, we thank you guys so much for coming on. We really appreciate the conversations. We appreciate everybody being so engaging. And yeah, hopefully we see
and
you guys
don't
next
forget,
week.
we're gonna have the recordings eventually on
Spotify and Apple Music.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So if you missed the podcast, or you know someone that missed the podcast and they want to hear it, just know we'll be uploading all of these. The benefit to being here every Friday, 8 to 10, is that you get to actually interact with us and we can help answer any questions for you. So,
bet.
Love you guys. Appreciate
Love you guys.
so
Take
much.
it easy. Thank you guys for everything and enjoy the rest of your night.